We might have had a week off from you, YouTube, but needless to say, it was anything but relaxing. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. If you missed us last week, we were at the Butter Tart Festival, so we didn't upload a video. And if you're new to this channel, we weren't here last week because we were at the Butter Tart Festival. And needless to say, long story short, that was probably the single-handedly best market we've ever been to for a one-day event ever, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we get to do that one next year. But this whole video, we are down for something new today. To everyone coming back and anyone new, my name is Brendan. I am one of the co-owners of the Rustic Tub. That's this little space in here. We are a small bath and body care business in the heart of tiny Ontario, just doing our best to give our best. Okay. Little bit of context before we jump into today's video. We ended up making a brand new soap. We tried it before and it did okay, to put it in simple terms, but we remade this soap for the Butter Tart Festival, and I did not expect essentially the love and support that we got from this soap. We sold out of this soap within an hour. We of course made a little bar just to see how it would play out, but it was the fastest selling soap that we had on the line that day. So for today's video, I actually have to restock it and remake it for upcoming markets to have it on hand again. And I just figured while we remake it, we might as well make it for all of you to see in a step-by-step video. So for today's video, we are making our Orange Clove Essential Oil bar of soap from scratch. And just stay tuned and come along with us, and we're going to walk you through it step by step, essentially. If you are here to make along with us, like a special little Martha Stewart program, then write down your stuff below. I'm not going to give the full-blown recipe. I'll give you our ingredients. Our recipe is located on our Patreon, but at this point, you can just follow along, write down what we do, and you can make this recipe your own as well. Each soaper is always different. Each bath bomb person is always different. So if you really like this one, you can literally make it your own as well. For the steps today, I left a couple ingredients just down off to the side because they were a little bit too heavy and too big to throw into the camera here. So the ones that we don't see, we have our giant pail of coconut oil and we have our giant canola oil ready to go. Over here, we have our shea butter. We have a little bit of avocado butter that we're going to be throwing in with it because we have a little bit left, might as well throw it in. We have distilled water, our essential oils. It's going to be our orange and clove leaf essential oil, castor oil, and our avocado oil. And that's pretty much going to be it, aside from our sodium hydroxide. And for that one, we're just going to be doing that first off, letting it settle. So we're just going to dive right on into things and going right in. Okay, got my little water bottle microphone off to the side, and as always, safety first, a little bit more tilted down so you can actually see what we're going to be doing today properly. We'll start with this angle, probably switch up for another angle just for the second part of our first little bit. To kickstart us off, what we are going to be doing is we're going to be mixing our distilled water with our sodium hydroxide. So this is lye in simpler terms, and you want to use gloves and you want to use protection when working with this because it is caustic for the skin. So caustic is one of my new favorite words. If you know why, you know why. If not, I mean, it's just a really fun word to say. But this is our step one. So honestly, mixing the water first, then into the lye. And you always want to mix the lye second, because if you throw the lye in first and it starts activating with the water, you don't know what kind of boiling sensation you're going to get. And there is a small chance that it could actually bubble up and sizzle pop and essentially, in nice terms, explode in the area. That's what we're working with. So going off by heart, I'm going to kind of sneak out of here so you can get the real view here. For this recipe, especially with our water pour, I like to do a 2-to-1 ratio. And I'll do a 2-to-1 ratio because it takes longer just for the lye to set up, and it's just easier to control the elements going into it. Everyone's soaps at a different pace, at a different little conversion for it. I just do a 2-to-1 because for me, I like having that extra time to kind of play with everything that's going on. So for this portion, I am adding the lye. Nice and slow to go with it as a nice little start. Get the 2 to 1. It is okay, honestly, if you are 1 or 2 grams over. And that's fine. It's totally fine. It's not going to do like a fast reaction or anything. But we'll get to this one. I'll do a nice little zoom in for you on this. I'm going to go ahead and mask up because that's where we really need to go with this portion. All right, with this in, we just go ahead, mix up. And we're really just doing this to break down the lye. So you will see it go cloudy. I don't know if you can see the smoke on camera, but she is technically really, really boiling right now. And you always want to wear a mask for this just because this is a very harsh lung irritant in simple terms. And you just want to protect yourself where you can when doing this because you want to be long lasting for it. Nice and simple right there. We're just going to go ahead, let it settle down. It will become see-through partway through, just the more that it settles up. Sometimes with the lye here, you will get little flakes and everything. You can totally strain it out after if you want. That's fine. It just means that the bucket still has a little bit of residue left over. But we are looking pretty clear here, so we're going to come back and move on to the next part once it sets up. This now should be fully set up, so I'm just going to go ahead, temperature, and as long as it's under 110 degrees, I find is normally really good for soaping. Because it's such a small batch, we're at like 90 already, so this baby's ready to go at this point. So we're going to move on to our next step and then keep on going with that. First step is get this out of the way, leave it off to the side. The next step is to do our meltable, so I'll change the camera angle here. While that's all setting up, you'll get a nice little eye view down from here. We're going to be adding in our shea butter and our coconut oil, and after we finish measuring it, we're going to be throwing it into our melting pot and moving on from there. So we'll just do a switch up for that one while we continue the video. So we always start with the smaller one first. I go ahead and do our shea butter. So you're just going to see it plopping in a couple times here. We're not doing a music voiceover this time, just in case like I have anything to say, because I know the last couple videos I may have missed information during this portion because I always talk a lot for this. But essentially, I will do the lower portion of this first, get it all in the bin ready to go so you can see exactly what I'm seeing, if not a little bit better. But that'll be it for the shea butter for this little block. And like I said, our coconut oil is half liquid, so I'm going to try to be very, very careful pouring this in just so we get the right amount. And then, perfect. Although it looks like it's less than that, there's actually more coconut oil in here. It's just melted down than the shea butter. And coconut oil is a heavier oil, so that's why it's looking like that. We're going to go ahead and melt this down. All right, our next little magical portion, we are going to be using our juice jugs, which in theory, I thought were a really good time when we first bought them. Now, I'm not sold on them, but we're still using them because it's going to be great for the pour. And then we're using like another little random cup that I've had from my past as being a makeup artist. We're going to be pouring in our liquids into here. This is going to be split off for another one. And pouring the fragrance, not the fragrance, the essential oils in that. And we're going to be continuing on to put everything together for the blending process. So here we go. For this portion, I always like to do these oils a little off to the side, not really mixed in with the melting ones. This is just my personal take on it. You can have your own personal take on it. Everyone is different when they come to it. Just for me, I find this a lot easier to keep track of what I'm pouring, the numbers I need to pour, and what I'm trying to accomplish, just to make sure that everything is the same as same can be. And beforehand, we used to use a lot of olive oil when we did a lot of our soap stuff, but olive oil has gotten so high in price, we just can't keep up with it anymore. So we've switched over to a little bit of canola oil, grapeseed oil, and avocado oil for the base of it. And then that essentially just gives you a nice little puddle of liquids right there that we leave off to the side. We're going to go ahead, add this after when it's all set to go. For now, we're going to do our essential oils. And because the mold we're using today is so little, we don't have to do a lot of our, I'm going to keep saying fragrance, but I honestly know that we are using essential oil. So your fragrance or anything, we know that this is going to be how it is. It's totally fine. Sometimes my words don't work when I describe stuff and I just kind of wander, so hopefully I'm staying with you. We only use a little bit for this one because a little bit is all you need for the mold. That's what I was trying to say. So this is our orange and our clove. It already has that bright yellow factoring color to it. Smells beautiful, and we're ready for the next part. Okay, oils have melted. You can probably see that very well in the camera going on. She is nice and clear, ready to go. I go ahead and, once again, this is all personal take on how you want to do it. I add the other liquids to the full liquid, scrape it out as well, just because you never know what oils get stuck behind or what's acting slow. I can be really impatient sometimes waiting for it, and I know it's something I have to work on. From here on out, I will say I am going to stir in our sodium hydroxide. So this is our lye solution going in. And then I will be blending it with the stick blender, just kind of off to the camera right here. So I will kind of cut out the sound for that because no one needs to listen to a stick blender on a YouTube video. That just doesn't sound nice. So with our lye solution in there, ready to go, we're going to hit up with our blender. So this is where the fun part actually comes in, is because everyone does soaping so differently. Like, there are so many videos out there where everyone's doing it one way compared to how they do it another way. This is honestly going to be one of those things where it's how we do it. So I go ahead and I split our batter up accordingly, however we want to do our soaps for the returning thing. So for me, I have it split up first, and then what I do is I will add our color. So I'm saving that one till end because that's the most. So with this one, I always add my colors first just because it gives me an extra blending time of what I would like to do for it, what I would like to accomplish. For me, this doesn't set up too much or too fast. I get a lot of working time with it. So once again, this is just how I personally feel. Other people will blend everything first, throw in their fragrance, and then they will add in their coloring. I just do it before because sometimes you never know how coloring is going to react. We have one soap on our line that literally reacts after 10 seconds of stirring. And it's one of my nightmare soaps because I only have about 5 seconds for that to pour. So from here, I'm going to go ahead, blend these all up again with the color, and then we're adding our fragrance. All of the colors are here. I always go from lightest to darkest when it comes to color mixing, just because it's a lot easier to get a hold of. That way I don't have to worry about the blending of the colors. So if I ever did black first and go into the white, then I don't have to worry about the white coming out like a really creepy looking gray. And vice versa, it's just easier to go from lightest shade to darkest shade. So what I am doing now is I'm throwing the bulk of our essential oil into our activated charcoal little realm, because if this one sets up first, I'm okay with this setting up. So I have a little bit of time to play with it. I do normally like to go really fast for this portion of it. Like I said, I have had some soaps that have set up in an instant, and it has been nothing but a nightmare. And then because black is half of the soap, I'm focusing more or less on that one first. And then I'll just take my spoon. I don't know how well you can see this from here, but I'll just kind of swoop it off to the side. It's still pretty soft, so this is going to be an interesting formation. But what I'll do is I will get it up the sides of the liner, just that way so the color also looks different when you cut the bar of soap as well, because we have started doing our swirls again. So I'm going to go ahead, wipe this off while I can. I'm going to get another spatula for the next portion. Just because this one is such a unique little soap, I always will have it off to the side. The spatula is really good if you need to help kind of alleviate the pressure of your soap. And when I say pressure of the soap, it means if you pour it in, it's not going to sink to the bottom right away. And with this one, you can see some little bit of panic coming on in, but not too much. I will pour off to the side first. I am a fan of uneven. If something is even, like our coffee whiskey soap, although I love it, it's 3 even bars. I am a fan of asymmetrical value. So what I will do is I will try to focus on one side of something over another, and then just have it kind of fill in. And what I mean by that is because it's setting up, you can kind of see here already. What I'm gonna do, take our chopstick from before. This is not a fancy stick at all. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a fast swirl, but I'm only swirling on one side. Once again, this is just my preference. I like my uneven textures. I like things looking really, really different. I'll plop that off to the side. And then I'll fill the rest on top, kind of let it do its thing. Get it out like so. And then with another clean spoon, I just keep it really easy. We don't have to do anything fancy. A lot of soapers do this technique, and maybe one day I'll get brave enough to do like the massive swirls, but I'll just kind of go back and forth, blend the colors like that. Kind of get it into the center so everything meets up. That way you don't just get like a flat top. So we've done this before, but we've just started bringing it back. So with that out of the way, with this mold, it comes with a little lid. So we're gonna pop that baby on and we're gonna let it cure for 24 hours. So the next time I see you, although in a couple seconds, she will be fully cured and we will be cutting the soap. So let's wait and see for that one. All right, welcome back to honestly 48 hours later. I know I said 24 hours. When I checked on it yesterday, I still felt like she was really, really soft. So I removed the sides. I let that little air dry come on in a bit. So for this portion, honestly, you've seen me do this a while ago. It's not a while ago. You've seen me do this many a times. I literally just go ahead, get the little air bubbles in there, help kind of get it loose. I will say we do have a little bit of cracking going on with the soap. So I'll bring it closer so you can kind of see just where it is with that. Sometimes it happens. It is to do with the moisture. It's not going to affect the soap by any means at all. However, if I am a little bit more rough with this, it might affect not the quality, but the beauty of it. Anyway, moving on from that one, we are just going to go ahead and slide this little bar of soap out. You can see yesterday in some of these areas, I really was trying to get it out super, super fast. Like I was really impatient, and with soap, you got to be patient whether you want to be or not. It will tell you when it is ready to go. So I'm just going to go ahead, peel off a little bit of the little plastic bits here. And then I'm going to go ahead, switch out the camera angle, and we are going to cut this little bar of soap. So what you are seeing for the first time is what I will be seeing for the first time. So we're going to go ahead and fingers crossed, hopefully we enjoy a nice cut. Okay, honestly, I will say cutting soap is one of the more, although it's fun, it's a very nerve-wracking position to be in because these are the moments we really look forward to. These are the excitements, the nerve-wracking if everything comes out. So with this being our first cut, you can see how the design is right here. I'm honestly holding in the amount of excitement I have right now because I wasn't sure how this was going to come out. I didn't know if I did enough swirls in it, if there was enough going on, if it was going to set up and look muddy. But the way it's going right now, as you hear me like chuckle in the background, is the level of excitement that this bar of soap always pulls off has been nothing but amazing so far. And I honestly feel like this is one of my favorite soaps to make now, just because of the turnout of it. Like it's always been great. There's never been like such a bad cut before, so that's like half of the back end of it. This is the honest back end of it, but I'm so happy with that one as well. That being said, with all of these pieces cut up here, you can see just how fun it was. This one gets its own special shout out because I'm obsessed with that bar. But this was literally done with a metal chopstick, so it's just proof that you don't need to have the fanciest items to make the best looking item. This alone is probably, like I said before, and I'll say it again, this might be one of my new favorite soaps that we have made. And this little area right here, activated charcoal, it's all orange and clove in there as well, so it is one of our natural soaps. But that is that for this little tester bar. And this also does mean that with this done, out of the way, being displayed for everyone, we are at the end of this week's video. So thank goodness another bar of soap has turned out. We have made this one before, so it's already available online for us. We just had to remake this one because people sold out of this super fast. So makes us happy that we get to make this again. If you want this recipe, just like every single one of our other recipes that we have out there, it is on our Patreon. So you can go ahead over there if you want and sneak a little peek if you would like to. As always, we do encourage to follow us on social media. We might not be the best at it, but we certainly do try our best with it. But without further ado, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for always watching. If you're new, just popping in to watch. And I hope you got to enjoy this one. We did things a little bit differently where you actually got to see me talk through the process, hopefully well enough for it to keep on going. But with that out of the way, I'm going to end this video and thank you so much for watching. And we will see you next time for the next one. Bye, everyone.